Okay, guys, so here's your schedule for the rest of this unit. We're doing number and quantity. So far we have done properties of exponents, properties of radicals. Today we're going to do absolute value. Then we're going to get into sequences, review imaginaries from first semester, talk about matrices, which is actually a pre-cal standard that we are going to talk about because it's needed for the ACT. And then we're going to do a quiz or test February 3rd and 4th. These are test dates for the ACT and SAT. So these are test dates that you guys need to be thinking about registering for, and these are the registration dates. So please go ahead and start thinking about when you're going to take them. When you guys do your junior year guidance meeting with Miss Green, she's going to talk to you about these and also the free passes for taking the ACT and SAT. So make sure you talk to her about that. Let her know that you've been working really hard in Algebra 2 and that you deserve a free pass for the ACT and SAT. You need to take both before you guys return to your senior year. One reason, you need to start applying to colleges in like September and October. And you're going to start running out of time to get those done. Also, based on which score you do better on, that's the one to focus on improving your senior year. So focus on these this year. First, we're going to talk about absolute value, and then we are going to look at some ACT prep type questions, and then you guys are going to do some problems. So you guys should all have this sheet. And we're reviewing what you should already know about absolute values. Opposites on a number line, they are two numbers that are the same distance from zero. They are said to be opposite. So if we do our number line, so we have our number line. Opposite values, this says graph -5 and 5. So -5 and 5. They are both equidistant from 0. So -5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from 0. And 5 is also 5 from 0. So these are opposites on a number line. So absolute value, the reason why that's important is absolute value is the distance a number is from 0. And it's always going to be a positive value. So absolute value is always positive because you're talking about a distance, and distance is always positive. So how we denote absolute value is by the parallel lines. So if we look at -3 absolute value, all it is a positive 3. Absolute value of 5 is 5, and the absolute value of 0 is just 0 because the distance of 0 from 0 is just 0. There's no distance there. So it's always going to be a positive value. Be careful that in math, a negative sign in front of an absolute value sign should be read take the opposite of. So you treat the absolute value sign like a grouping symbol, and then you do the work inside, then take the opposite. So once you work out the inside, then you take the opposite. So we're going to look at a couple examples. Right here, the inside's 23. There's nothing to simplify. The negative is on the outside, so it's a -23. Here, we like it said before, we treat this as grouping. So 6 minus 5 is 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. Here, the absolute value of -2/3 is going to be a positive 2/3. And then this negative comes out front. So this is not a negative times a negative, which makes it positive. You do the inside first, then do what's on the outside. And then last piece is what if the variable is in the absolute value sign? All this means is that you are going to find all solutions that make the statement true. So what values, when I do absolute value, are going to give me a +7, and it could be a -7 and a +7. So we're going to look at a couple ACT prep type questions, and then you guys are going to do some as well. So these are some drills that we are going to look at. So we first need to do what's in this set of absolute values. So -4 plus 3 is -1. Then we're going to look at, let me do this. Then we're going to look at this section right here. 7 minus 10 is a -3. And both of these pieces are in absolute value still. So all I've done so far is I've simplified what's inside these two absolute value signs. Now we continue and simplify. Absolute value of -1 is a +1. Absolute value of a -3 is a +3. And then now we further simplify. 1 minus 3 is a -2. And the absolute value of -2 is 2. So the answer for A is 2. Again, you start with your grouping. So treat absolute values as grouping symbols. Start with the grouping and work your way out. So let's look at B. I'm going to draw my brackets. -7 times -4 is -28. 6 times 2 is 36. And then you can simplify, and you can do this on a calculator, which I prefer so that you guys don't make any silly mistakes. So if you have the TI-36X Pro, you hit your fraction key, do 28 over 36, and it simplifies to 7/9. So if you do have a calculator, because there are some non-calculator portions, if you do have a calculator, put it in the calculator so that you don't make simple mistakes. So this is -7/9, and the absolute value tells me that this is going to be positive. So that's my answer. Oh, sorry. 6 times 2 is 12. So that would make this a 3 and 3. My bad. So this was -28 over 12, reduces to 7/3, and it equals a positive 7/3. All right, let's look at C. It says, given x is -2, evaluate the following. So all this means is that we are going to substitute this -2 in for x in both spots. So we have negative. We have a -2 for x minus 4 plus 5 -2. So all I've done so far is I've subbed this -2 in for x, and now we're going to simplify. So we have negative absolute value, -2 and a -4 is -6. And then plus 5 times -2 is -10. As we simplify, the negative is still there. The absolute value changes this -6 to a +6. And then we just continue simplifying. -6 and a positive -10 is -16. Okay, 2 more examples we're going to do together. This one's the same exact type of problem. We're going to take this +3 and sub it in to both x's. So we have negative, our bracket, or absolute value sign, 4. Then it's going to be times 3 minus 10 all over a negative, x is 3 minus 2. Now we simplify. 4 times 3 is 12 minus 10. This is a -3 minus 2, which is a -5. Now continue simplifying on the inside. So 12 minus 10 is 2 over negative 5. And then remember, we're taking the absolute value, so this inside becomes positive, and that negative just falls out in front. And that's your final answer. Okay, last one. Now they give us x and y. We're going to sub them in the way we see them. So we have x is negative 3. Y is 4. Plus 5 minus y we said is 4 over 2 minus 1. So far again, all I've done is substitute negative 3 in for x and 4 in for y. So now we are going to simplify. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12 plus 5. I'm going to leave. Minus 4 divided by 2 is 2 minus 1. Continue simplifying. Negative 12 plus 5 is negative 7.
If you're still in the building,
And so negative 12 plus 5 is negative 7. 2 minus 1 is 1. This absolute value changes this to a positive 7 minus 1, which gives us 6. So this is how you do absolute value. This was a lot easier than what some of the things that we've been doing. So you're going to do some practice with this, and then next time we're going to look at sequences. So it's really just following in order. So kind of simple as well. And then we get into reviewing imaginary numbers, which you guys should already know from first semester, and then something new that I personally enjoy, which is matrices. So that's the gist. Thank you, guys.